that white layer in the middle is zona pellucida. Number 3 on the inside, or the yellow section, is the plasma of the egg. And number 4 is the nuclei of the egg cell. So we advance a little further, we see the same thing. So now we have the parabellum space in between 1 and 2 here, or the gap inside. We have the egg plasma once again with the female nuclei, and that, again, that little yellow-blue dot is the nucleus. We'll advance a bit further. The sperm cell will eject its nucleus, which you can finally see on this model, and the female nuclei is shown up here, and you have the appearance of the first polar body, which is the kind of white cell that's cast off in the beginning of reproduction. It takes it a step further, and here, these little kind of fibers that are attaching these nuclei, it's not so much it's attaching it, but it's a creation of the spindle fibers, which you can see in the next cell. So, labeled 3 on either side of the female and male pronuclei, we have the centrosomes, which are made up of centrioles, which end up making the spindle fibers, which are key for mitosis and meiosis, specifically mitosis for this section. So finally, along this cell, we have the fusion of the male and female pronuclei, and we get the first cell of a new individual, which is known as a zygote, and again, we have the polar body up here. Now, at this zygote stage, the zygote will undergo rapid periods of mitosis, so it'll divide again and again and again and again, and we have a few that you can see right here. So one cell will divide into 2, so we're now at the 2-cell stage. 2 cells will divide into 4, and we now have the 4-cell stage. 4 cells will divide into 8, which we're skipping, but those 8-cell stages will then divide into the 16-cell stage, which you can see here. Now, we're going to jump ahead a lot in time. So as these cells continually divide, we're trying to make these germ plates. And these germ plates are the endoderm, the mesoderm, and the ectoderm. And you can see 2 of them right here. So the white one would be the ectoderm, the yellow would be the mesoderm. You also have other structures here that kind of key into how a baby will develop and how this baby will be pretty much given nutrients by the mother. So, label number 5 is the declining peduncle. This one's interesting because it's what ends up becoming the umbilical cord. So, if you follow it outside, there's a kind of darker red, or I guess rim around it. That's a trophoblast, and that's what ends up becoming the placenta, which feeds the baby. And it makes sense because you have the umbilical cord, or what will become the umbilical cord, right next to what will become the placenta with all its vessels that have fertilized the baby, or not fertilized, but give it nutrients and blood. Outside of that, we have the uterine veins here and the choroid arteries, which belong to the mother. And labeled number 6 is the mesenchyme, which is a kind of darker green rim around here. When we further progress, you start to have the increasing in size of the trophoblast. You have the ectoderm once again, and the endoderm, which is yellow. And we jump ahead further in time, and now you have something that starts to resemble something more like an actual embryo. So this kind of curvy section right here is the embryo itself. Labeled number 2 is the chorda, which ends up becoming the backbone. Labeled number 1 is the nervous plate, which ends up becoming the brain. And right beneath that, labeled number 7, it's a rudiment of the heart. You also have the appearance of the mesoderm finally, labeled at number 4. And these little orange, or not orange, but red dots around them, those are the blood islands. Over here, we start to have the continuation of the declining peduncle, so you can start to see the creation of chorionic villi, which again end up becoming the placenta, which feed the baby with blood and nutrients. And from this model, we then go into here. We now have a full-fledged embryo, which you can see here. It's inside, it's a amnion, which is then inside a chorion outside. The yellow is a yolk sac. The yolk sac is different in humans because the yolk sac is basically only needed for around the first month, which is what you have this embryo in. After the first month, the mother's placenta takes over and the yolk sac is no longer needed for circulation or nutrients. So again, you have the further development of the chorionic villi outside here. You have the exoceal cyst labeled as number 5. And on the back side, it will show you the different sections of what would be the placenta. So you have the decidua capsularis here, which is a smooth layer, and the kind of rough layer is the decidua basalis. And that's it.